It's actually shaping up to be probably one of the most interesting quarters that I can remember, probably over the last 10 years.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of CC Talks. I am Ilaria Severi, the Marketing and Communications Manager of Creative Clicks, and I will be the host of our CC Talks. In this podcast series, we will not only introduce you to our company Creative Clicks, but we will also talk about several topics regarding mobile and performance marketing, together with special guests and experts in the field. In our first episode, I'm very happy to introduce you to our CEO, Raymond Kokken. Hi, Raymond.
Hello, hello.
And the SVP Business Development, Jordan Cunningham, who is based in our Toronto office. Hey, Jordan.
Hi, Ilaria.
Thank you for being here today, guys. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much, Ilaria.
So, well, if we want to start, let's say we start with saying what year it has been, right?
No, definitely. It's a strange year with the coronavirus. It's also our 10-year anniversary this year. And in a fast-changing edtech market, I think it is a huge achievement that we are there already for 10 years, or a real household brand in the performance marketing industry. So that's quite an achievement, definitely.
Yeah, well, congratulations about that. Indeed, that's a really important milestone. And well, I know that the company has celebrated it in his own way since, the unusual circumstances didn't allow the usual celebrations. But still, I think that we at the company had a chance to really feel the milestone that we all achieved together, right?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we had something else planned. The plan was to go out with the whole team to some sunny places and to celebrate and have a good couple of days with partying, good conversation about the industry, etc., and seeing every member involved again. But yeah, of course, we couldn't do that. So we had small other celebrations rather than the big outing we have planned. Correct.
Yeah. So, well, at least we were able to send our clickers around the world the staycation set
That was a good one.
with some tools and things that they could use during their staycation because maybe this summer nobody really had a chance to go on holiday, but at least we tried to together remember this moment and celebrate it in our own unusual Creative Clicks way.
Definitely.
Well, that's great. But if we talk also about a bit more creative clicks, so besides the celebrations, another thing I think it's worth mentioning is that, well, in these past months, companies have been having quite a hectic moment, so to say, all over the world. And this is actually the least we can say. And many companies found themselves cutting budgets and teams, but actually at Creative Clicks, we have hired quite a lot of new people recently. Even just the past month, we had 8 new employees.
Yeah, that's correct. Correct. Of course, when we heard about the coronavirus in the first place and started to have a lockdown in March, everybody was not only afraid of the business or the economics in that sense, but also on a personal level. When you see all the news in the media and full hospitals and people are going to die on the intensive cares, yeah, I was also a little bit afraid of health and what could happen to my relatives, etc., etc. And in addition to that, what will be the impact on the business at that time? Of course, we are in the performance marketing, so that means that because we have always a sale or a lead element in towards our marketing, brands naturally switch budgets from branding to performance when there is an economical downturn. So we had a couple of big brands and advertisers who actually had to cut budgets because they were in the travel industry. Now, I don't have to explain you what happened to that industry at the moment. But we also had some global e-commerce players at that moment were increasing their budgets. So we saw some good months, and now we try to invest in some new opportunities we see. We had planned for a real big growth scenario, but of course, when also clients are cutting budgets, we still see some modest growth. But I think modest growth in terms like in the economic crisis where we are now is still a huge achievement. So I'm very happy that we are at where we are now, and the financial and performance of the company, and also the talented people we were able to acquire to further growth, and all the initiatives that are on the table to further grow the company, especially related to the time period of where we are now and the big economical uncertainty there is out there.
No, definitely. That's totally true. And so, yeah, indeed, these past quarters were a challenge for everybody. We all tried to find solutions to the new problems. And well, it's good that we were able to face certain problems and actually find opportunities in the challenges. But then what I would like to ask Jordan is what do you think about this upcoming Q4? What do you think is going to happen?
It's actually shaping up to be probably one of the most interesting quarters that I can remember, probably over the last 10 years. There are a lot of really impactful things that are happening at the moment. I think if we look at the impact of coronavirus on kind of our ecosystem, we're going to be seeing probably a lot more e-commerce spending and a lot more probably streaming driven activity than we have in previous quarters. I think with iOS 14 coming in the next month or two, that's going to be a big shake-up for our industry. And I think to kind of add to all of this, we also have a presidential election that's going to be occurring in the US, which typically can have an impact on bid rates and different platforms. So it should shape up to be a really, really interesting quarter for the performance and mobile marketing industry.
No, definitely. The election part is something that always impacts the economy and then the activities and the market that we are in at the moment. What do you think, Raymond? Do you agree with Jordan?
I can agree totally with Jordan, especially in Q4. Normally, the bid prices on traffic is going up significantly. So that means that either the good converting ones, like the e-commerce, increase their budget, while others have to cut budget because because the lifetime value doesn't correlate anymore with the cost of acquisition. Elections, there comes a different factor in as well. So that has also normally an impact on pricing. And with the new Apple regulations on the tracking platform, which is completely uncertain for a lot of people, how that will impact the industry on the short term. There are a lot of things which are looking for us very bright in terms of the partners we have, especially on the e-commerce side. They will increase budgets. But there are also a lot of uncertainties about, okay, can we make a good ROI on it? Because if the prices on traffic are going to be increasingly, because especially in the US market with the elections, it can have impact. And I don't know what the impact will be in Q4 of the new Apple tracking system and what our advertisers will do related to that. But it's challenging and we will have to see it.
Yeah, because maybe, I don't know if all our listeners know about it, but indeed recently Apple made a decision of crippling the IDFA, which indeed will impact mobile marketing quite a lot. But like you guys said, we still don't know. It's still too early to say what is going to happen, right?
Yes, I think we've seen a ton of press and speculation about how that's going to impact the mobile marketing ecosystem. I think as a company, we've tried to have a little bit of an outlook and some suggested solutions on how we're going to approach user acquisition in a post-IDFA world. I think if we look at some of the things that we've tried to do as a company, it's been a lot of testing around different traffic types, different buying models, different attribution methods. And we're trying to figure out what the best fit is going to be for the kind of the future of mobile media buying. I think for us, we've looked at forms of non-IDFA traffic, things like limited ad tracking. That includes mobile web inventory and different inventory channels. And that's been promising. I think we've seen that there's very promising performance there. And there's a very big pool of kind of cost-effective, non-personalized traffic. But I think a lot of it, like Raymond said, is going to be how brands interpret what's going on and how they look at mobile marketing with a new scope. And I think that's the part that's kind of uncertain.
Yeah, especially the current attribution platforms give the advertisers a lot of information about an event, app tracking, and whatever happens if, let's say, a consumer is a little bit more engaged with the app, then especially the attribution platform give a lot of insights about it so that they can down drill the lifetime value per user very well. And very detailed. With the new tracking system, it's, let's say, less sophisticated. That means less information is being posted back. Of course, we have a lot of data already. We know a lot of traffic sources which convert in specific verticals. So the data we have now would be sufficient in order to target those app users on the short term, especially when the advertiser still can get information about the lifetime value of a specific publisher. Having said that, that the older the information gets, the less it is on par. So that means that we don't know how the advertiser will react on that. It's just something we have to see. I think we have enough data and a lot of knowledge and vertical knowledge about what kind of advertiser will convert, or what kind of advertiser will convert on what traffic sources, what will be the quality of it. But when consumer habits are changing, also the data will be outdated, and then we have to completely be reliant on the Apple tracking platform, which is at the moment less detailed and doesn't give a lot of insights compared to the other attribution platform right now.
Okay, so you would say that our solution is using the amount of data and knowledge that you have so far and combining with testing and seeing how these two things together can help you find solutions to the new situation, if we don't want to say to the new problem.
Correct, and that's of course the solution on the short term. The solution of the long term, we have to see how sophisticated Apple will make the platform, and if they can make it sophisticated enough to get more detailed data about the user. Also, the fraud detection is less sophisticated, or maybe not even there compared to the big attribution platforms. So we are driving a little bit in the blind at the moment, and we have to see how eventually the lifetime value of the users and the data the advertisers get, if that's sufficient for them to keep on spending. We have seen that a lot of the budget will be switched to Android. But nevertheless, we also know that the lifetime value of Apple users are normally higher. So, just to say, okay, let's not include Apple users anymore in the user acquisition sounds to me a little bit impossible. But I can also imagine that the advertiser want to make sure they get ROI on their user acquisition. And if they don't get enough information out of their tracking tool of Apple, it's a little bit uncertain for them as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. That makes sense. But then my other question, following up to this and still related to quarter four, is that, well, quarter four, it's also a very important quarter, not only because it rounds up the year, but because it's it's the holiday season. So a lot of holidays, especially towards the end, from, let's say, starting end of October, we're going to have Halloween, and then in November, we're going to have Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday, and then Christmas. What do you see will happen in these upcoming months, also related more specifically to the holiday season? How the current situation will impact the holiday season, according to you, Jordan?
I think historically we've seen e-commerce brands have spent significantly to acquire new users during this period. I think with the current situation, a lot of people confined more to the home. I think e-commerce spending is probably going to go up significantly, and I think that's going to have an impact on the respective budgets. So I think that we will see, once iOS 14 is kind of released and a lot of the testing and kind of performance of that release are determined, then I think brands, specifically in the e-commerce vertical, are probably going to start looking very heavily at kind of maximizing the remainder of the quarter and trying to make the most out of very, very increased e-commerce spending through this period due to everything that's kind of going on with coronavirus.
Yeah. What do you think, Raymond?
Yeah, I think social, we see TikTok, for example, really taking off with user acquisition, which is also a very important client of us. So the social part of it is also, but we have also other social clients who actually cut budgets in Q4 and they keep on spending in Q1. So it's a little bit dependent on the vertical. It's a little bit depending on the company itself, the strategy, how aggressive they want to be in the market, how they are going to take advantage of the holiday period.
Fair enough, guys. Well, is there anything else you would like to add about what you think is going to happen in this upcoming quarter or beginning of next year? What are you expecting? What are you hoping for?
Now, having said that, let's say we had a real strong Q1 this year compared to our Q1 last year. So also we see that in particular parts of verticals and brands, we increase the spending in Q1, which is normally a really slow quarter for us. But because of the coronavirus, we took a lot of advantage on that one, and also in Q2. So normally the focus is more Q3, Q4 focused or related to get the big budgets in. And now I hope if we can have a solid Q4, then I think we have done a very good job in this year. And the only thing I can hope is that Q1 will be at the same level as our previous Q1. That will be very good for the business indeed.
Would you like to add something, Jordan, to that?
Sure. I think there are a lot of obvious kind of changes and challenges that are coming ahead, probably in the next quarter or 2 quarters. I think we really want to reiterate that Creative Clicks is committed to open-minded testing, new traffic types, different buying models, different attribution methods. I think testing is going to be the most important aspect of all these changes. I think that's going to give us concrete understanding of how the market's changing and what we can do to kind of move forward. I think this level of flexibility, and I think consistently sharing feedback with our customers, it's going to allow us to continue supporting our clients with fully transparent and efficient performance media buys, and I think that's kind of the goal that we're always striving for.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the business, of course, a lot of our advertisers are really familiar with Facebook and Google, which also are in the app markets, the dominant players in this field. But in-app traffic is more, let's say, the black box, where also a lot of users are spending a lot of time in playing a game or being in an e-commerce app or whatsoever. So a lot of the time is being played and spent on these particular apps, and there's what we are so good at. And to drive really transparent user acquisition strategies in-app traffic is challenging because it's more a black box. There are so many platforms, so many SDKs. Where do you get the best users? How to target them? It's more difficult and less transparent as the other platforms. But as Jordan says, that's where we come in. We have so much experience in this particular field, and we try to guidance our advertisers to make sure that they also spend their budget on in-app traffic, because we believe that there is also a lot of users which can be acquired, but you need to know what you're doing. And I think we bring a lot of knowledge in order to give that transparent user growth strategies for our advertisers.
Makes sense. Well, great. Well, guys, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for being on this first podcast episode of CC Talks. Thank you for everybody who is following us and listening to our podcast. Well, if you have questions, and I'm talking to all our listeners, and you would like to know more about our business, please feel free to email sales@creativeclicks.com. And till next time, then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ilaria. Thank you very much.